Good day, Junior Techies. This is Mrs. DeMelon, and today we're going to look at Activity 4, posting to the journals, the ledger, and the creditors list. Now, if we look at the activity, it asks us to post to the creditors journal, the creditors allowance journal, the cash payments journal, and then post to the general ledger and the creditors ledger. First of all, remember, if they give us a list of opening balances like below, if we have the creditors list, this creditors list total added together must equal the balance for the creditors control. So if you add them together, you'll get the opening balance for creditors control. And that is our internal control measure, that our list must equal the total of the creditors control account at the beginning and end of the month. So this is the beginning of the month. Then we're going to do transactions, and then at the end of the month, we are going to see if they balance out as well. So we are going to first look at the transactions, and remember your keywords. And if you can't remember, go back to your notes, but going through it quick, for creditors journal, it's buying on credit or invoiced. Trade discount, remember, is after discount amount always recorded. And then your CPJ is purchases for cash or EFT. Your discount received on a payment to the creditors is also recorded in the cash payments journal. And then all allowances or discount allowed must go to the allowance journal. So the first one, we bought the following on credit, so that will be a creditors journal entry. Both of these are subject to trade discount, so you have to minus the 10% off the 500 and the 9,700 Rand. Paid 600 Rand towards the account of Trichem wholesalers via electronic transfer, that's CPJ. Day 6, settled half the amount owing to new suppliers, less 5% discount. So that discount is on a payment to the creditor that we get discount for early payment, and we are going to take half the amount minus 5%, and that is what we're going to pay. Then withdrawal of cash, that's a normal CPJ transaction. Bought merchandise from Stripes Limited and paid via EFT, CPJ transaction. Bought the following from new suppliers as per invoice, that is a creditors journal. Claimed an allowance, so in other words we send stock back, so that's allowance journal. The last one, day 14, settled the amount owing to shift suppliers on the 1st of May, less 765 Rand discount, both CPJ, but the discount needs to record in the discount column. Then if we look at the next transaction, remember our keywords again. So we can just remember our keywords, discount received, and so forth and so on. And then when we look at the first one, Minute Print also undertook a repair service, received an invoice, so that will be debtors journal. Creditors journal. And then on day 18, the owner, Mr. DJ, checked the invoice and established that there was an overcharge of 50 Rand, so that will be an allowance journal. 21st, we withdrew cash for weekly wages, CPJ. Then bought 3 calculators on credit, so that will be the creditors journal, but remember 3 of them, each costing 365, so we're going to have to times by 3. One of these calculators was for the owner's daughter, so that will be drawings. Day 26, sent back 1 calculator to Trichem wholesalers because the display was defective. Issued a debit note. Now, if it was the one that was for his daughter, they should have specifically mentioned it. So we can assume that that was one of the calculators used in the business. So that's a reverse normal allowance for the business. Day 27, settled the account for Minute Print, and it was made electronically, so CPJ. Withdraw cash from the ATM to pay, that's CPJ, and settled half the amount for Trichem CPJ, and then 5% discount is normal discount received. If we now look at the entries and we specifically look at the calculations, Now, first the creditors journal. By now you need to know how to fill it in. So the invoice numbers are all just in number order according to the first one given, and then they just roll over to the next number. The creditor's name is always listed. The first folio is always the creditor's ledger account reference. So Swift for suppliers will always be creditor's ledger 1 and so forth. Now, on day 3, we bought for 9,700 and we bought for 500 Rand. But they say both of these are subject to 10% trade discount. And that is where this calculation comes in. So the 9,700 times 10 over 100 gives you 970 Rand, 10% discount. So you have to minus that trade discount off the 9,700. And then you get the 8,730 Rand. And we do the same for the 500. Calculate 10% is 50 Rand, minus it off gives you 450. And then that 450 plus the 8,730 Rand gives us a total of 9,180 Rand. And then day 10, there was a straightforward entry of consumables and stock that we bought, as well as some stationery. Then minute print was a straightforward transaction for the repairs. And then the 24th, how do I get the 1,095 Rand there? That was the 3 calculator. So 365 times 3 gives you 1,095 Rand. And all you have to do now is add every column to get a final total. And remember, we split this 1,095 Rand between the office equipment there and the drawings, because one of the calculators was for his daughter. So that is why I put the 1,365 amount as drawings. Then the allowance journal, most of these were straightforward. Remember, yet again, we put the document number is the credit note number, or the debit note number, excuse me. Then we have the creditor. The folio reference is their creditor's ledger account number, and then all the amounts post to the creditor's control column, and then what the allowance was on, or what was returned, it will be allocated. And then you just add up the columns again. Then when we get to the cash payments journal, this is where things get a bit tricky, because there's 2 layouts on the cash payments journal. And it's very important to note which layout they use. And when I talk about the layout, I talk about the layout here in red. And that is the creditor's control column. Now it can either be split between a creditor's control payments column and a creditor's control discount column. Or the alternative method, which I'll show you in the next slide, where it's only the payments column does not exist and it just says creditors control instead of payments, and then discount received. Now, in this method that you see in front of you now, the payments column is equal to the amount in the bank column, because the amount that you pay must come off bank. That is then the payment that you made to your debtor, and then if there was discount, you record it in the discount received column. The other method is where the creditor's control is there instead of payments, and then creditor's control must be the total amount owed. So bank plus discount normally gives you creditor's control, or in this case the payments amount plus the discount gives you the total creditor's control amount. So when they give it to you this way, it means that the payments is equal to the bank amount. So if we look at the first one, it was straightforward. They say we paid 6,000 Rand, no discount. So that is why we have 6,000 Rand in bank there for Trichem and 6,000 Rand there. On day 6, they said we paid half of what we owed in the beginning, and then we get a discount of 5%. So first, to get half, we owed 39,696 Rand at the beginning of the month. Divide by 2 gives you half, so 19,848. So that is what we owe. but then we also have a 5% discount. So if you work out 5% on the half, so the 19,848 times 5 over 100 gives you 5% of 992 Rand 40 cents. That is then your discount amount. Then to get the paid, you always pay after discount. So what you owe, 19,848 minus your discount of 992 Rand 40 gives you a total payment of 18,855 Rand 60 cents. And then the bank amount is the same as the payments amount because that is the actual amount paid. On the 7th, we just withdrew cash for the wages. On day 8, we bought stock and via EFT. Day 14, they say we paid the amount owed at the beginning of the month and we get 765 Rand discount. So if we have the 765 discount, it means that in the beginning of the month, we owed the 39,675 Rand. 765 Rand was discount. So if I minus off that 75 Rand from what I owe there, then I get the 39,000 Rand. And then the bank amount must equal the payments column. And then lastly, on day 31, they say we settle our account from Trichem wholesalers and paid half of that and then get 5% discount. So first of all, we need to work out how much did we owe Trichem at the beginning of, on the 31st. So at the beginning of the month, we had the 32,373. Then we paid on the 4th 6,000 Rand. Then we bought the 3 calculators for another 1,065 and we returned 1 calculator 365. So to date, we owe 27,103 Rand. We paid half of that. So we need to pay 13,551 Rand 50 cents. However, they were kind enough to tell us that we get a 5% discount on half of that what we owed. So if we owed 13,551 and 50 cents and we get 5% discount, the discount amount is the 677 Rand and 50 cents. So that goes to the discount column there. And then you take the 13,551 Rand 50 cents minus off the discount to get the actual amount paid, 12,873 Rand and 92 cents. And then that amount must be the same as your bank total. And then all that's left over is to actually add up the columns. And remember, you can double check yourself because the bank total is equal to all of the other ones added together. So except for the discount. Why? Because discount was an amount that we paid less for, but it's not a physical cash amount. So the 500 plus the 77,519.52 plus 15 plus 12,201 gives you the 509.52. And if you add from the top down, you should get the same amount. Now, if we look at the alternative method, I said the method now depends on the column layout. So now you can see here the alternative method. We don't have a payments column. We have a creditors control column and a discount received column. Now, to use the exact same example, you can now see that the creditors control column is the total owed. Then we record the discount, and then the bank amount is the amount after discount. So, yet again, creditors control column is the total due. Then we have to record the after discount amount in the bank column. So that is why on day 6, for instance, we owed 19,848 We calculated 5%, that's the 992 Rand 40, and then the amount after discount is recorded there. So 19,848 minus the 992.40 gives you your bank total, and that's the actual payment amount. So yet again, just to remind you how we got these amounts, you can see the calculation written there. Then the same for day 14. Yet again, the bank total must be after discount. We owed 39,000. We owed 39,765. We got 765 discount. So minusing it off gives you the amount paid, which is then 39,000. And then the last one, the same again, just to remind the calculation. We paid half of what we owed. Owed was 27,103 Rand. Half of that is due, so that's the 13,550 Rand there, minus your discount of the 5% gives you the bank total, that's the 12,873 Rand 92 cents. Now, when you check your column totals here, you need to be careful. So if you want to double check your bank total with this layout, you have to add from the top down. And then to double check it, you're going to say 12,201 plus 15,000 plus the 79,954.50 cents minus discount of 2,434.98 plus 500 Rand should give you that 104,000. So remember, discount is what we don't pay, and that is why we take it off here, because this creditors control column total is the total owed before the discount of 2,434 Rand was taken into account. On the previous slide, the payments column is already recorded after discount. Now, we have to look at the posting. So when it comes to posting to the general ledger, and we post from the creditors journal, it's actually quite straightforward, because the creditors journal is the rule says creditors control with the total of the creditors control column, and then debit all the other accounts. But when it now comes to posting from the CPJ, the layout of the columns will influence the way you actually record it in your journal. So if it's the first standard layout with the payment column there and the discount, we split the amounts in our creditors control account as well. Now the rule for posting CPJ says we are crediting bank and debiting all the other accounts. This makes sense because we are paying, so our creditors control account liability must minus, and that's a debit entry. The bank total is the amount of payments that we made, and then we have to record the discount received of 2,434.98 cents. Now, why do we need to record both? Because the payment does not include the discount, but we technically owed the discount as well. So that discount must minus off because we're not going to pay it. So that's an extra sort of minus on the total that was due. So that 77,519 Rand plus the discount was included in this balance of 112,000. So if I don't take off the discount, it's going to reflect at the end that 2,400 is still due, and it's not, because they told us because we pay on time, we get a discount. And then we also need to post the allowance journal. So we post the allowance journal from the allowances journal, and that says that we debit credits control and credit the rest, reversing that purchase entry. And then all that's left over is to work out your balancing. Now, if we look at the alternative layout for the CPJ, now all the other posting will work exactly the same. You still have your balance on the credit side. CJ will still be on the credit side. Allowance is still on the debit side. The only thing that changes is the way you record it in your control account. And that is that if we have the creditors control column there and the discount received, I'm only going to post one total. And the reason for that is because this creditors control column will include that 2,434 Rand 98 discount. So that was the total owed, and that's the discount. So what do I need to subtract? The total owed. So when I post, I only post the total of the creditor's control account, which includes the discount. Remember, I have to take the discount out as well. Otherwise, it will still reflect as money owed. And I don't owe it because it is already minused off, or it is discounted by our suppliers. And then, as I said, the rest of the posting stays exactly the same. Then if we have to now continue just normal posting, remember the rule for posting from the creditors journal. And if we look at the other accounts, so trading stock was one account that we had to post to. It's an asset, so we have a balance brought down from the previous month. The rule for the creditors journal here says creditors control, debit the rest. So I look for the trading stock account or column and I post the total. Creditors control CJ and the total there. And then I do the same for the allowance journal. That's the reversal. So I'm returning stock, so stock must minus off. So that's why it's a credit entry. And then I purchase stock cash, and that's the CPJ entry there. So just applying your rules and posting to the other accounts. Then we do the same for the consumables. The thing that you need to note for consumables is when I post from the creditors journal, there were two entries for consumables in the sundry accounts. Now, because there are two entries, I can't add them together. They have to stay separately because they're in sundry accounts and they're on different dates. So that's very important. So that's why I have to post them separately and not as one total. If it was a column, then I would have only posted one total. Then the stationery, yet again, I just look for the stationery amount. This time it's a column, so I can only post the total. And then I have to do the same for the allowances journal. And in this case, there was no return or a reduction on stationery or consumables. When I then post or to the specific creditors ledger accounts, remember that debit is plus, credit is minus, and the balance is the final total. So if I first just look at new Swift suppliers, I'm going to start with an opening balance. That opening balance is called account rendered, and I get it from the opening list, and it goes straight to the balance column because that is what it is. It's a balance, 39,995 Rand. And then I have to look for all of Swift suppliers in all my journals and post. In this case, there was an invoice there and an electronic transfer and the discount. So this is now where things get interesting. You have to post the invoices and then you have to post, first of all, the invoice will increase. Sorry, let me just do the posting from the creditors journal. So the creditors journal increases or pluses the creditors ledger account. So you take the 39,995, adding the 9,180, equaling 49,175. And then they transfer the amount. Now, if it's the alternative layout, you will not look at the total in the creditors control column here. You will have to look at the amount that was paid and record the discount separately. So when you record them, you have to minus the one off and then record the other ones separately in there. Then the next one, new suppliers. Yet again, I look at all my journals and I look for new suppliers entry, and I have the new suppliers in the CPJ. Yet again, I look at the total in the bank column that I need to post to the debit side there. And so the 39,696 minus the 18,855.60 gives you that 20,840.40 cents. Then I record the discount, and then that's a separate entry that you have to record because it's not part of the electronic transfer. It's a separate additional value that I get from my creditors. Then I have an invoice that goes and I add it, and that's the final amount. And then the last one from the allowance journal will be a debit entry, and I will minus that off to get your final totals. And then these final totals are the ones that will transfer to the creditors list. Now, if you look at all your final totals, you will see that all of these final amounts translates to your creditors list over here. And then finally, when this creditors list is added up, you will see that total is equal to the balance of your creditors control account. And now you know you've done it correctly and your posting is correct. And that is how you know your internal control measure shows you that your posting has been done correctly and you are safe in terms of the correctness of your bookkeeping. Right, guys, and that's the end of this section. In the next section, we are going to look at combination activities for all of these things. So we are going to look at the combination of all transactions for cash and credit transactions, and we're going to look at how they ask these sections we've done up to now in the exam or even in the standardized tests. Thank you so much, and I hope this explains things. Have a very good day. Goodbye.